Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. This lovely Saturday afternoon is another great time to be in your presence. It's another great time to host the meet and greet with the FBI coach. Peradventure, you don't know what FBI stands for. FBI stands for the Financial and Business Intelligence Coach. Basically, what I do, two things. I delete what you know about money and reinstall new thinking system in you. That's number one. Then number two, I help my clients make a lot of money training them on what they know how to do. In other words, I help you to repackage whatever you're doing. I help you to increase your influence in whatever. So if you feel you want to do that, you want to expand your horizon, contact the FBI coach. I'll help you out. Okay. All right. Please tell me where you're viewing from, and don't forget to drop your favorite emoji. If you're watching a replay, please also drop a I beg your pardon. Share this type your team members. Remember, your enemies need to hear this because that will make them be at peace with you. All right, so it's a great afternoon. Before we kick off, I want you to remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is FBI Coach. You can also like this Facebook page. Let's get connected. I put now and then so that you can get notified once I put up this content. And remember to activate the notification bell. One more thing, my high income skill is coming up on Monday. Early bird dies today, but FBI put early bird. So you can still pay 2,000 naira if you pay today. Immediately after this event, contact me so you can get paid, so you can pay your money and get registered for it. Now, what will you learn? You will learn number one, the secrets how to sell online. You'll be able to increase your visibility online, that is organic reach without paid adverts. You'll be able to tell your stories constructively to attract the right market which you want, and also make great offers without sounding as though you are begging your prospects, your clients, your customers to buy from you. There is a way you can present your hook to your fish, and the fish will gladly get into that hook without struggle. It's all about strategy. Then you also make your post to attract the right people you need. There's so much to learn. So I don't want you to miss this life transforming event. It's a one-time offer, 2,000 naira only. I usually don't charge that for my trainings, but I decided to make it this low so that so many other persons can benefit from it. All right, without further waste of time, I want us to maximize our time today. Remember to tag others, remember to share the video, invite others, host a watch party. Let's learn together. Our guest is ready. Please don't tell her I said so. I call her my mommy. She's no, not mommy. She's the mommy. There is mommy and there is the mommy. She's the mommy. She's someone I've known for several years, over going to about 30 years. I've known her as old as I know myself. Let me use that word. She's someone that, um, let me not say anything. You will hear from her. She's a great woman. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished viewers, this wonderful Saturday afternoon, please join me and receive the mommy. Good afternoon.
Good
It's
afternoon,
good to have
FBI
you.
House. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Please, viewers, let's drop favorite emoji for her. Let's welcome her. Let's drop some hearts for her. I feel like saying let's give her a standing ovation. Well, we can do virtual. We can do virtual standing ovation. You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
Fine.
It,
Thank you.
um, it's a great privilege to have you here. It's like applying for a visa to certain countries, and they'll ask you to come back, and you apply again. They'll ask you, okay, what do you want to do, or when do you want? When are you coming back? And but I thank God, finally I got the visa.
Okay.
Welcome.
I'm glad I finally made it as well. I apologize that we couldn't seem to connect before now. It was one
Yeah.
thing or the other, but I'm glad and thank you for your patience and thank you again for having me here today.
I don't get choice. I must have the patience. Okay, Bobby, please tell us a bit about yourself before we kick off with the topic for the day.
Say that again. Sorry.
I said, please tell us a bit about yourself before
About
we kick
myself.
off.
Okay. My name is Binta Max Minije, as you already know. I have the privilege of being a wife, a mother to two boys who are men. They remind me now that they're men and no longer boys. And
Not,
considering they're big, taller
not,
than me,
not two boys. One is here.
I am a financial services executive and I was in the banking industry for close on 30 years. I worked in the banks and then was also a trust practitioner when I headed up Stanbic IBTC Trustees Limited, a company I was privileged to start up with a couple of ladies, and which today is a market leader in more ways than one. It's a thriving, going concern, and it's doing a great job. I moved back to the bank afterwards for another couple of years and then left at the end of 2019 to pivot into a new area. I still offer financial services. I run a boutique consulting firm where we offer strategy, research, financial services that we're licensed to do. And then I also find that I am able to exercise my interest in female development through a lot of the bodies that I belong to. I have the privilege of sitting as an executive council member of WIMBIS, Women in Management, Business and Public Service. And those three areas are the areas that I actually do have a passion. Women, um, business management, and of course, public service as well. Um, I like to share and give back to society as much as I can. So, in the different areas where I have the privilege, I get to coach, I get to mentor, I get to teach, and I get to give back as much as I can. So, in a nutshell, that's me. And I'm really glad and privileged to be here. Truly an honor for me, sir.
Thank you very much, man. I want to be like you, and because I'm still growing. Okay. Today you want to talk to us about the four things we need to know before we quit our job. I fired my boss several years back, and I'm sure I didn't know most of these things you'll be sharing today. But I'll be glad to learn. And I'm so certain there are so many persons that will be privileged to get this information. I've come across a lot of people who want to fire their boss, but they don't know how to go about it. And they keep asking me, Charles, what was the driving force? What made you fire your boss? So let's get to know those things today.
Excellent. Okay. So the first thing, and I'll commend you for the courage to fire your boss at the time that you did, because it takes courage, right? You must have the what's the word, liver, as we say in Nigeria. Is it okay to speak pidgin on your show, Charles, or are you all upper crust
That's
and we
it.
only
No,
speak
no,
Queen's English?
no, 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 prim and proper. No, 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 no.
You know, sometimes the pidgin language drives the message home far better. So it would be good to break into the
Exactly,
pidgin sometimes. So
exactly.
it was great of you that you had the liver and the courage to fire your boss at that time and decided that you wanted to be your own boss. But if we take your story, I'm sure you will tell us why you did that at the time. There was a reason why you did that. So the first thing I will say of the four is to say you must know your why. You must understand your purpose, and you
Yeah.
must understand your core. What is driving you? Why do you want to fire your boss? Why do you want to quit your job? Particularly if you're in a cushy job where the pay is good, sometimes whether you work or not, you get your salary at the end of the month. You know what I'm talking about. It's just nice to continue to
Yeah.
go 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, or depending on the hours you work, and at the end of the month you get your salary and you move on. So if you're in that kind of position, why would you then want to quit your job? So the first thing is to determine the compelling reason why you need to do that. What's your why? That why is critical for you to understand, to articulate, to put it in writing if possible. I like Confucius, the philosopher. He says, better the lightest ink than the strongest memory. Don't think and say, oh, I know it in my head. Articulate it, put it down in writing, be able to see it. If I wake you up, any time of the day, 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 3 p.m., and say, Charles, what is your why? What is your purpose for wanting to fire your boss and quit your job? You must be able to give that answer, okay? And so the answer should be anything from, oh, I'm leaving because I want to go into ministry. I've received a calling of the Lord upon my life. He says I should come and work for him. But if that is it, you must have that purpose. Oh, I'm leaving because I want to go home and be a housewife. I just want to take care of my children. I want to spend quality time with them. That's a good reason as well. So if that's your reason, more power to you. But you must know and understand why. Oh, I'm reason because of the very sexy reason. I say sexy because that seems to be the mantra these days. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but they think it's a walk in the park. It is not. So if that's why you want to leave, you want to fire your boss and quit your job, by all means, but know your why, know your purpose, know your core, why you're doing it. And then it takes me to understanding after you then know what it is. For those of you, for instance, let's use the entrepreneur, those going into business as an example. You must know the right business. So don't just say, oh, I'm leaving because I'm going into business. What kind of business? Do you have the skills that you require for that business? Do you have the knowledge you require? Do you also have the passion? Because that passion is critical. You must have that passion. You must know the business. You must have the skill. You must have the knowledge. And you must have the driving passion. The questions you must ask yourself and answer in trying to know your why is also, what problem will I be solving? I want to go into business today. There are loads of people ahead of me who have gone into business, who are doing business. What will I do that will be different? Okay? They say the difference between ikpekere and plantain chips is the packaging, but the content is the same in it. So the person who was doing ikpekere, and they will just do the ikpekere and tie it up in nylon bags, as we say it in Nigeria, and sell it in traffic, are also, it's the same content, but somebody hit upon the idea to say, yes, I'm going to do ikpekere, but mine won't be ikpekere. I'm going to package it nicely. I'm going to add salt there, add pepper there, make it spicy here, make it neater and more hygienic. I'm going to call it plantain chips. So whereas the bakery is 10 naira or was 10 naira on the street, your plantain chips was going for 100 naira, okay?
Yeah.
Because that person sought to do something different. He was meeting a certain need. He was appealing to the bourgeois. Bakery, anybody can chop bakery, but plantain chips, there's a certain level of people who eat plantain chips, okay? So he was
Yeah.
meeting that need there. Okay. For somebody else, like we were discussing, Charles, before we started the conversation, it might just be a pain point. It might just be something you're called to solve as a problem. There's something that's a pain point
Exactly.
for you. You use the example of
Yeah.
disorder, if I may quote you. So you don't like disorder. So if you don't like disorder around you, then that's a pain point for you. You are called to make
Exactly.
order out of chaos. So you finding a solution to take care of that disorder means that you then know your why. You know why you're in that business. It's like traffic, like we also talked about. Lagos, for instance, is traffic prone. So imagine how I, for instance, I say jokingly, I doff my hat for people who live in Lagos. I could never go back to living in Lagos. 3 hours in traffic, oh my word, I will go crazy. How I did it for so many years is still beyond me. But I live in a fast-paced environment, and Lagosians, please forgive me. I live in Abuja now, yes, and they don't have that traffic. But if I lived in Lagos and the 3 hour traffic was still getting to me, then I'll take the time to sit down and say, what can we do? I never forgot seeing Governor Fashola, as he then was, on the news, talking about someone who thought about the traffic and came up with that solution underneath that Onikon bridge. At some point you
Yeah.
had to go to CMS to turn and all of that, and then they created roundabout in front of Onikon. Then you could go this way. You came out in front of, that roundabout for those who live
Yes,
in
I know
Lagos.
that
But it was
roundabout. Yeah.
correct. But it was someone who thought about it and said, if we created this and put this roundabout here and directed traffic this way and that way, then of course we will have a solution. And it did help. It eased the
Yeah.
traffic. So what am I
Yeah.
saying? When something is a pain point for you, you're probably called to find the solution to that problem. And when you do, of course, you will be in the money. So think about value creation in understanding your purpose, in knowing your core, in determining the right business, and ensuring that you have the passion to be able to make it come to fruition. The other thing underneath all of this and knowing your core, your purpose, and all of that is also the timing. I will talk about timing and I'll use that as an example, as an example to say, for instance, if you lived in Jos is very cold. I grew up in Jos, and there's certain times in the year when it is so cold, everybody is walking about in sweaters and winter jackets. So from November, typically towards the end of November till February and March, it is chilly in Jos, okay? Like winter, like chilly. We
Yeah.
don't see the snow, or growing up, we didn't think about the snow and all of, we didn't see much of that, but it was that cold and that frigid. So imagine wanting to start an ice cream business, and I go to Jos, and it is in November, December that I want to start an ice cream business. Obviously, I'll fall
Wrong
flat on
business.
my face, right? The timing will not only be wrong, the cost, the client, the target market, I will have just missed it totally ab initio. But if I came to hot Lagos, that people are sweating in May, in June, and I started an ice cream business, even in the neighborhood, obviously the children will run. They'll go to mommy and daddy and say they want ice cream. The heat self will say that daddy will say to the child, buy and buy for me also. Timing is critical as well. One thing I'll also like to just say underneath that number one before we move on is about knowing your niche area and about specialization. Okay. I hear people say, I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm a serial entrepreneur. And I say, more power to the serial entrepreneurs. But I just wonder, and I say, we hear about the power of focus. And a great example for me always remains Usain Bolt. Okay. Remember in the Olympics, he was being tipped. He wasn't even being tipped to win the 100 meters and 200 meters race. It was his team leader, if I remember correctly, Ashafa Powell, that was being tipped. Nobody had broken the record since the 1994 Carl Lewis, Carl Lewis.
Yeah.
So, but Usain Bolt comes and says, I want to do this. He remains a classic example for me. I want to do this. And his coach says, are you sure? And he says, yes. And he talks about the power of focus. What does Usain Bolt do? He stops partying with the guys. No late night. He stops drinking. He goes on a special diet. All he's doing is exercising and he just focused for that period. He cut out everyone. He focused. And you and I know the end of the story. Not only did he break those records, 100 meters, 200 meters, in the relay race, he helped his country, and he just dusted everybody and became a
Yeah.
worldwide household name and a legend. Why?
Worldwide.
Because of the power of focus. So I use that to encourage the serial entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying don't do one and move to the next, don't do one and move to the next. But when you focus on something, 110%, that honestly, in my personal opinion, and I may be wrong, the jury is out and it's okay, you've got your own opinion, but this is my view. to say when you focus on something and give it your 110%, that's when you get the best out of it. You can milk it for all it's worth. You can, take the value chain underneath all of that. It's not just, okay, I do this, I hit that mark. There's a lot more that you can get out of that than just leave that and move to the next level. But again, this is my personal opinion, but it's something that I've always felt strongly about, and I thought I should chip that in here. Counsel, if you work for money, if you work just for money, you'll never really make it. But if you love what you're doing, okay? If you love what you're doing and you love what you're doing and you do it, for the good of the customer, then obviously you would absolutely at all times, do that very well. And sorry, I'm just having something just went up here and I'm just trying to put it together. If you just give me a second. But so I was saying, if you work for money, just for money, you never really would make a good you won't make the most of it. But when you love what you're doing, you do it with passion, and you think
Yeah.
of the customer, then you put your best foot forward, and of course you would at all times get the best out of it. You'll be able to make a success of that business, and you'll be able to move forward. Put the customer first and success will follow. Okay.
Success.
Number two thing I would say, and I'm mindful of our time, is to say first, the first thing was know your why, your purpose, your core, and what right business you're going into. And the second thing I would say will be the how. Okay. And when I say the how, so I'm sure you've seen this quotation, or when they talk about knowing your why, knowing your how, your what, your who, your when, and where. Okay. And that's something I'll still talk about
Right.
a couple of slides, Charles. So maybe I'll send that to you after this, and I put that there to say know your how, your who, your why, your what, your when, and your where. So let's talk about the how and the where together. So assuming you were going into business, and here we're talking to the entrepreneurs again, have you dimensioned it properly? Okay. So you say, I want to go and do plantain chips. Let me use that example again. That's what is the why. That's why I'm quitting my job. That's why I'm making that decision to fire my boss and to have the courage to strike out on my own. Then follows the where and the how. Okay. Have you done the full framework of this business plan? Have you done the maths, as we would ask? Have you ensured that all your
Mhm.
ducks are in a row? Okay. Do you have almost 100% certainty? And I say almost because you can never have 100% certainty. But if you have dotted
Mhm.
your I's and crossed the T's, you have done my own personal
Possible.
check, double check, and triple check. Have you checked? Have you double checked? Have you triple checked? Because if you miss it the first time, the second time you might pick up on it, or when you're triple checking, you might see what you've missed. You've got to carry out that rigorous exercise of understanding and going through that process and just checking to be sure you've got it all sorted before you step out into that wild, wild world of working for yourself, of being a serial entrepreneur, even being a lone business entrepreneur, but just doing that right. Do all that. Have you thought about your investors? Do you need investors, or do you have the money to do it yourself? Okay. And that will take me in doing that homework. I challenge everyone, before you fire your boss, before you quit your job, if you're going into business, we've said it might be ministry, it might be staying at home, it might even just chopping your money, it might just be traveling the world. It's all good, okay? But I think most times we find
Yeah.
that 90% of the time when people say they fired their bosses or they're quitting their jobs is because they're going into business. So on that premise, let me talk to the business
Yeah.
people. So have you done your homework? Have you checked, double checked, and triple checked? Have you written your business proposal beforehand? Do you have a clear cut business plan in place? Your business plan must be neat and tidy. You must have an executive summary that tells us your
Yeah.
mission statement, the product or the services that you're going to be providing, who the leadership of this business is. Are you a one man or one woman riot squad? Is it me, myself, and I? If we check your certificate of incorporation, would you be chairman, the MD, CEO, financial officer, all of that, the head, middle, and tail of the business? Or do you have other people in leadership with you? Where's your location? Am I going to be doing this business in Jos, in Abuja, or in Lagos, in Port Harcourt? Do I have a financial growth plan? All of that comes under the executive summary. You must be able to describe your business. So if I were to meet an Aliko Dangote today, and of course Aliko is an obvious choice. Uncle Aliko is the richest black man, right? And I can talk about that,
Yeah.
but we don't have the time. So let's meet Aliko today. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm striking out in business. Is my elevator pitch ready? The elevator pitch is that 1 minute that you have in between floors. So if you're trapped in the lift with Aliko, I don't see Aliko every day. Nobody sees Aliko every day. But you are blessed to be caught and trapped in the lift with him. In 1 minute flat, do you have the time to tell him exactly what your business is and why he should come and invest in that business? You must know it off the top of your head. This fact should be at your fingertips because you might never get that opportunity again. You should be able to say in that 1 minute, deliver your elevator speech. My business is this. This is what my business is about. My customers are this. These are the solutions we profile. This is my competitive advantage. Do you know it? FBI coach, I know you know yours. If I were to say, why should I come talk to you and not to Steve Harris? I'm sure off the bat you can tell me what it is. But does everyone who wants to start a business have that information? You must have carried out your market analysis, industry analysis and outlook, your target market, the market trend analysis. You must cite successful players and businesses who have done it before and what you will do better. So you must be able to answer that question. I can do what they're doing. I know what Dangote is doing, but I can do better than Dangote. How? I break it down for Aliko. So he will say that, yes, you're too small to come and be a competitor, but we can work together. You must be able to do that. Your organization and management, is it captured in your business plan or in your proposal? And if I were an investor in your business, if you wanted me to invest in that business, these are all the questions I would need you to answer for me. Who's in your organization and management? What's the legal structure? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Is it a limited liability company? What are the regulations involved in your sector? Do you need to get a sun cap? A lot of people don't even know what that is. Do you need to get a sun cap certification or license? Do you need to get a NAFDAC one? You need to have that information at the tips of your fingertips. Copyright plans, okay? Patents, do you have to do that? What research is it? Is there plans for intellectual property? Bam, you must have that information. What are your marketing and sales initiatives? I was saying the other day, I was cleaning out my little purse and I saw a card. It was a loyalty card that my salon had given me, a salon I used to go to had given me. And so they gave me this loyalty card. If you come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, the sixth time, your service will be free. So I was throwing out things, and when I got to that, I said, this salon, I haven't gone there in a while, but I'm not throwing out this card. I'm going to go again just so that I can get that sixth one that will be free, okay? But that was because, and that's because I'm sorry, I'm a cheapskate. Yes, you're laughing at me, Charles, that I don't want to pay money for the sixth one. But it's a loyalty plan and it's going to bring me back. In your business, have you thought about such initiatives that will attract the client and keep them? You must think about that. Let's talk about funding, financial projections, and the appendix. All of this must be in your business proposal, in your business plans, or in the proposal you're going to put forward. Funding. You say to Aliko, Alaji Aliko, I need money. How much do you need? For how long? For what? What's the purpose of the fund?
Whoa, network. Whoa.
Okay,
What's going on
I
here?
can see you and I can hear you.
Uh,
Is it from your end or my end?
oh, internet have mercy on us.
Is it back?
Internet have mercy. It's back.
Okay, because I could
I
see you. I could see you and I could hear you.
okay.
But then,
I lost you.
oh, I see.
I lost you at the point where you were talking about okay, the making offer, going to the salon to enjoy the sixth
Oh,
offer.
okay. So that was about loyalty plans and all. Yeah.
Loyalty card, yeah.
Okay. All right. So just having initiatives like that will keep the customers coming back, that will help you to retain them and help you even engage or attract new customers. You have to think about that as well. So I was talking about funding or as well. Funding, you need funds, obviously. What do you need the funds for? Is it short? Is it long? Is it medium term? What purpose? What's the utilization of this funding? What type of funds do you need? What are your plans for repayment? All of these things must be clear. What are your financial projections? Okay. Do you have financials? Do you have an income statement, a balance sheet? Do you have collateral? Do you have security that you want to put down towards the facility? Have you done some budgeting and cash flow projections? All of these are critical for you to understand. So this is what you need. And we're still talking about the how and the why, okay? In
Yeah.
doing all of this, you might then want to think about funds. So let me just talk about funding a bit because I guess that's the finance professional in me. How do you access funds? For those of you who want to go start a business, how do you access funds? It starts with you as number one. Your own skin must be in the game, as we say, before any investor will want to come and give you 100%. No investor will give you 100%. What's your own skin in the game? If you need 100 million, or let's even make it keep it small and say 1 million, where's your own 100,000 to start with, at least? And that's 10%. But when you come to me and say to me, I need to start this business with ₦1 million and I've got 300,000, then I know that you are talking and you're a bit serious. But you come to me and you say you need ₦1 million, and I say, how much have you got? And you say nothing. I say, this bros, you never start. When you're ready, then you come, let's talk again, okay? In accessing funding must start with you. What do you have? And someone will say, but quite frankly, I don't have a dime. But then you have assets. They're assets that you're not sweating. Some of us have bought land, and it's sitting there fallow. We can release the equity on that. Do you want to sell it? Do you want to rent it out? But you can release funding that you can then put to business that will generate more for you. Don't have
Yeah.
useless assets. And to my sisters, I would say check your wardrobe. You can do a garage sale, my sisters. All
Yeah.
that pink outfits that you've bought Ashwebi for your friends in the last 5 years. You have pink, you have maroon pink, you have baby pink, you have all the sweet pink, something you magenta pink. You've got all the pinks. Don't buy Ashwebi anymore. In fact, all those other that you have, choose the one that you like the best. Keep that one. And if you need to do like a garage sale or a yard sale and sell the other one, you're freeing up capital. I mean, this is me being pedestrian and coming down, but I'm aware that I'm talking to a cross section of people. Some other people are looking for hundreds of millions of dollars back here, while others are looking for something as small as 100,000. So I'm just trying to be real across board, okay? But it starts with you. Do you have savings? And if you say you don't have, then you must have capital that you put in, your own skin in the game to start with. Then you might also go to a thrift society, AJO, when they talk about collective savings schemes and all of that. You can
Mhm.
you can be part of it. When it reaches your turn, you take it and you start the business. Friends and family, key. That's another way to access funding. So when the people talk about funding, it's usually you first, then the AJO, then friends and family before even the AJO. If my friends will not buy into my vision, if my friends will not support me and put their money down, then there's something to worry about this business, if you know what I mean. I'll never
Yeah.
forget Mr. Edo Peterside telling us about when he wanted to start IBTC at the time. So he goes around, he needs to find people who will put their money down. And he goes and he talks to his father. And his father says, okay, business plan, blah, blah, blah. They do the numbers together and all that. And his father puts his money down. He did a lot for him. And this was to show that I'm your father. I believe you. I trust you. But more than that, the man was a shrewd businessman. He understood that there will be return on his investment. If your friends and your family are not ready to put their money in your business, maybe you should take a look at it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that you must consider, another source of funding, angel investors. The people who have loads of money but don't have the ideas or the time. So they just want to give to people and giving back in some instances, even without expecting much back, they will put money into that business. There are grants as well that you can get. The Tony Elumelu Foundation, the BOI, the CBN. I mean, there's so many, and I can talk about them in later if we've got the time. Intervention funds that you can access as well that might help you as seed capital to start your business. private equity, venture capitalists. The last one will be a commercial loan. And it will be the last one because I would always say, and I say this with every sense of responsibility, I was a banker for almost 30 years. But in starting a business, we'll always say to you, a commercial loan should be the last one that you
Last
should
option.
only when absolutely necessary. Exhaust all these options first before you think about a commercial loan. Okay, so I've talked quite a bit about the how and the why. I know I'm trying to make the most of our time. Okay, but then let me move quickly and let me just talk about the intervention funds and the and all for that. So the government has, even on the back of the COVID-19 pandemic, done quite a bit. BOI, the Bank of Industry, has some funding and some schemes and grants for women in particular. So my sisters, hurry up, if you haven't accessed it yet, on Monday or even today, hit their website, what you need to do, and submit an application as soon as you've got it. There's the NICEL one, the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System, for those who are in agriculture, because as you know, there's a focus on agriculture in this with this government. There's the RSSF, the Real Sector Support Financing, the CACS, the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme, that, on the back of this pandemic healthcare intervention fund, there's just so much. And that's government alone. Then, of course, there's the African Women Development Fund. And forgive me, I'm partial and I'm focused on women because this is International Women's Day Month. So forgive me. There's the GEM Grant, African Entrepreneurship World Growing, and the Tony Elumelo, God bless Tony Elumelo. I'm a big fan of his for this good work he's doing. So there are options. What are you doing to access them? Don't just say, I want to go into business, I'm firing my boss, I'm quitting my job. What are you going to be doing? How are you accessing the funding? So these are a few tips. We can't access that, talking about it. What is number 3? Remember, I'm only talking about 4 things, even though there's a lot of information buried underneath that. You must have an emergency fund. Child of God. We're all children of God. I know this is not a strictly Christian platform, but I have to say that, child of God, have an emergency fund, and tacked underneath that, note time management as well. And I'll talk about both of them very quickly. What do I mean about what do I mean when I talk about an emergency fund? You must have money socked away. Do not say, I'm leaving my job today. My oga has annoyed me. Who does he or she think they are? In fact, Monday, I'm dropping my resignation. I'm walking away. Bros, today is the 13th, though. Salary is still far. At least collect this month's salary first before you walk away, okay?
Yeah.
But more than that salary is that you must have funds socked away. You must have a staff. You must have prepared for a period of time when there will be no income coming in. The rule
Mm-hmm.
of thumb, really, when we talk about setting money aside or keeping an emergency fund, is 6 months of living
6 months.
expense. Six
Yeah.
months. So if for the sake of argument, your salary is 1 million every month, child of God, I use that again, have 6 million socked away to say for the next 6 months, come rain, come shine, I would have money to live on. I will not, my standard of living will not depreciate immediately because I've stopped earning a salary. I will not begin to beg and harass and call Charles 20 times a day so that when he sees me, he will then begin to avoid my calls. I will not see we, as we say in pidgin language.
Yeah. We.
See we, I will not see we. I will be able to pay school fees. My standard of living will not drop in any way. So rule of thumb, 6 months living expenses. But if I may challenge you, my brother and my sister, be sure that you have 6 to 12 months. Charles, I
Yes.
can tell you horror stories of people who quit their jobs and who 3 months after could not pay salaries, I beg your pardon, could not pay school fees
No fees.
because
School fees.
regular salary coming through. 3 months. There was someone who I saw like 6 months or so after he had quit work, and he was a shadow of his former self. And my mouth was wide open. But before you quit the job or went into this business or into that venture, didn't you plan for it? Particularly when you're not a young man or you've got family responsibilities, or even
Yeah.
a young girl who is alone and takes care of herself, but you should be able to take care of yourself as well. So, Bikonu, eh? Let me speak all the languages I know how to speak.
Don't answer.
Eh? Then Allah, all the languages. Like, let me just whatever it is. Again, because you must, in doing all of that, make sure that you have 6 to 12 months living expenses tucked away. Put it in liquid assets that you can easily access. Okay, don't go and put it in a land that you can't sell. Don't, and
Yeah.
that's a good investment. I love real estate, that for me is my number one. But I'm just saying generally that it must be what you can access easily, because that's why it's called an emergency fund. And on the back of that also will be to say, have other income streams. Do you
Yeah.
have money coming in from say investments? Do you have property, or do you have a building where you've got a tenant and you know that rent will come in? That's always sweet when it hits your account, right? So you must
Mm-hmm.
have other income streams. If this venture I'm going into doesn't work, can I leverage, like Charles, can I be an FDI coach and be able to, earn an income from that? But it's critical. You can't rely on just this one venture. You can't quit your job and fire your boss just to go and start on a venture that is not 100% certainty yet, even if it is food, clothing, and shelter. And I say that because of Abraham Maslow's law, the law of needs,
Yeah.
where it says that the
Yeah.
three things you
Food,
go wrong,
clothing,
people will
shelter.
always need food, clothing, and shelter is top
Yeah.
of that of triangle of that pyramid. So you can't go wrong. In this time of pandemic and COVID, my darling Charles, and my ladies were still buying bone straight hair, because we say, okay, there
I
were
was,
no
I think I was going to ask if you were putting on a bone straight hair.
I wish, my bros. I can't afford bone straight. No, it's not bone straight.
There are more
But
needs.
you know what I'm talking about. You prioritize. So
Prioritize.
you need to know what to do, and then you must have income coming in from all ends. It's critical. So determine what it is. Are you a school teacher? If you're a school teacher, schools were short. What did you do in that time? Another income stream will be to give lessons online. You could have done that. Okay, that's one income stream. Another one will be to go to the neighbors in your neighborhood. Since we couldn't go far, there were other children around. You could have done lesson for them. Another thing will be to do training online. There were many ways that people made money during the pandemic. They were smiling to the bank literally and literally, and there was a lockdown in place. So it's no
Yeah.
excuse to say, oh, this is the only thing I can do, or something has gone belly up. No, there are always other ways. So find other income streams and make the most of them. Time management, let me talk about that very quickly. It's just to encourage you, because when you work for yourself, you then feel and say, oh, now I'm my own boss. I can sleep till 9 a.m. I wake up
Ah,
at 10. I stroll out at 11.
poverty
How
shall
I
follow.
adore my brother and my sister. Time
Poverty
management.
shall follow.
So the fact that you work for yourself is not an excuse for you to laze away the day. No, it
Yeah.
isn't. Even if what you're going to do is 10 minutes. I don't know of anyone who spends just an hour in a day doing business, unless it's Yahoo, that you will make money enough for the week or for the month. So you need to keep at it, and you must manage your time. Plan
Exactly.
ahead. That's when you have the ability to realize your goals. That's when more opportunities come your way. That's when you do all of this without stress. You can say you're an entrepreneur, even if you're a serial entrepreneur, and you are, because you've managed your time, you take breaks, you organize yourself, you set a time limit. You can even set a time limit, like as if you were still working. I'll wake up, I'll sit at a desk 8 to 5, like I would have if I was in an office. I will focus on what I need to do. I will check my Rolodex and make the necessary calls. I will set my goals correctly. I will remove non-essential tasks. It's all of these things that you've got to do to make you more effective, even when you work for yourself, even when you have fired your boss, and when you quit your job. It's critical. The last thing that I'll talk about, which is the most important, even in my view, is the God factor. And I say this with every sense of responsibility. Again, I'm aware that this is not a largely Christian audience, but these are principles that are eternal and timely. Okay. And for me, the God factor is that bit about guidance. Okay. Getting guidance from the Most High God. It's God who can tell you. Some of you who say you're serial entrepreneurs have 10 bright ideas, and on the face of it, they're all great ideas. But a good idea is not necessarily a God idea. It could be
Exactly.
just one idea out of the 10 bright ideas that you've got, well, one that God will say to you, go this route. And in going that route, you make the most of it, bang for the buck, as we say. You hit it right. It's a timely idea. We had a brother in church who told us during the pandemic that just before the pandemic hit, or just about that time, he was praying and he asked God that he needs another source of income. He needs to do something. And right there in his room, an idea dropped in his head. He implemented it, and just then the pandemic hit. My darling FBI coach, while some people were screaming, no money, lockdown, this man was lolling on his bed and smiling because alerts were just coming into his account. Every day, BEM, alert as we call it, BEM will land in his account. And it was one idea, but he got it from God. So it's not enough to say, I want to go into business or I'm quitting my job. What is thus saith the Lord? And I say this for everyone, whether you're Muslim, Christian, pagan, free thinker, you need guidance because you don't know it all. You're human and you don't have all the answers. You can follow your gut feel and usually spot on, but I will
Network.
urge caution. And why is God factor the key? Because, are you back? Am I
Yes,
back?
I'm here. I'm here.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. So when you've got God, you can also get a mentor. And you and I know the buzzword these days is mentorship and sponsorship. Obviously, there's a difference between
Yeah.
mentoring and sponsorship. Mentoring is someone teaching you all that he or she knows or helping you to bring the best out of you. The sponsor does that, but more importantly, on top of that, put their own personal brand behind you or in front of you to help you move up, particularly either in a career ladder or in the business world. So both are good. Now, when you have God, you've got a mentor, you've got a sponsor. The Holy Spirit can whisper in your ear, don't go this way, go in that direction. And like you and I know, the outcome will be great because you're working with God. So that's the fourth and the most important. I could have put that first, but I thought, for me, it was critical to mention. All of these things are good, but without all of these things, when you have all of these things and you don't have the G factor, then you really would be not hitting the ball, the net as well as you should. A few things I'll say before I round up and hand over back to you, Charles, will be that because of the new world that we're in, they say it's a new normal. I say it is the
The
now
new
normal.
normal
Is now
is a
normal
now
because
normal. Yeah.
now normal is reality. It's no longer new anymore. It is what it is, as my chica will say. And so this is what it is, and we've got to deal with it. Three things that are key for me to encourage you before you quit your job, before you fire your boss: go digital and virtual. We're having this session now online, right? StreamYard, Zoom, Facebook, and all of
Yeah.
that. Every area of life and commerce in this now normal requires virtual and digital skills. You must have those competencies. That's why Zoom is smiling to the bank. That's a story for another day. I'm blown away by that Zoom
Yeah.
story. Over 400% increase in share price. They've outperformed every analyst expected.
Increase in 2 months.
They're smiling to the bank. Is just unbelievable. This was Zoom that a lot of people didn't know about 2019 December, but 2020
Yeah.
December, they were market leaders. Their revenue combined was more than the seven biggest airlines in the world, and
Seven
I can go
biggest.
on and airlines in the world combined. Zoom outperformed and had more revenues. All of them put together. I promise you. Yes, it was. I mean, name it Lufthansa. I can tell you the seven names if you want me to. Lufthansa, KLM. What are those other names? United, American. All of seven of
Airways, United
them.
Emirates.
Yes, all of that. They outperformed them in terms of revenue. And this was all within what period? Because of what the pandemic had caused and how, they had leveraged on that. They had a platform that everybody jumped on and they made money. So, child of God, and I say that with every sense of responsibility, go digital, go virtual, automate, innovate. Nobody is doing manual anymore. There's no pushing anything manually. It's online real time. And you've got to be an expert, whether you're a banker, you're in IT, you're an entrepreneur, you're in digital marketing, you're in what do we call network marketing. In whatever area you're
Network
in, you
marketing.
need be digital and virtual. The second thing I'll say is build social capital. Charles, I cannot overemphasize this enough. Okay, there are loads of things that are happening. $1 million deals that are being brokered, husbands and wives, spouses that are being gotten, jobs that are being, all because of social capital. Okay, and what does that simply mean? Maintaining relationships. Okay, staying in touch with people, showing kindness. I'm not saying be nice. There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Kindness is an underrated superpower. That's a story for another day. But you know, all of these things help you to put a foot in the door and to move you to levels. It will cause your name to be mentioned in rooms where you're not, and mentioned for good in high places, as we like to say. Build social capital. Check up on people. Don't not call people 2, 3, 4 years and then you call them after fourth year, I'm getting married. What should I do because you are getting married? You call me, pandemic hit, you call me, ask me how I did. Now you dey married. All congratulations, all the best to you. What do you want me to do about it? And this is not being mean, but it's just the fact that you can't just come out of the blues. 3, 4 years you're not in touch with someone, or you owe somebody money you haven't paid. Then it's only 3, 4 years later when you need more money that you come back. No. I don't need those toxic relationships. Okay, build social capital when you don't need it, so that when you do need it, it will come in handy for you. And I say that with every sense of responsibility. I like to tell this story. I have a little friend. She's not little. She's a young woman, but I'm older than her. But we've remained friends. We stay in touch. Her birthday, I check up on her and all of that. And then they were looking for somebody on a board, on one of the boards that I sit on. And someone called her to say, we're looking for a board, a member that fits this, and this role. Do you know anybody? And she immediately said, oh, yes, I do. Binta. So she put my name forward. And then this was to the MD of that organization. The MD then spoke to the chairman of the organization. The chairman called me. Long story cut short, I sit on that board. Why?
Hallelujah.
We're not from the same state. We didn't go to school together. We met on the job. I've left that role. Our paths could have gone different ways. She might not have remembered me, but I've stayed in touch, and we're good friends. We talk, we engage. I'm big sister to her. And lo and behold, I got this opportunity because she recommended me. Build social capital. And the last thing I'll say is, please collaborate. Nobody is an island. Don't think you can do it alone. And when you don't know, please ask. The preaching proverb my brother loves to quote is, person where they ask, they miss road.
They
If
miss
you know,
road.
they miss road.
You
If you
ask
don't know,
well.
you don't know. Ask question. Person where they ask, no, they miss road. Collaborate. If you don't know it, get somebody who does. Partner together, work together, make that thing happen, and plan. When they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, it's still so
Yeah.
very true. It's so true. That the jury is in on that. It's very true. But collaborate. Collabor is the name. You can't do it all on your own. I might have the skills and the talent, but I don't have the network or the network. But somebody else does. And when we come together and partner, there's so much that we can do together. I know I think I should stop here. I've gone on longer than I had planned. But essentially, this is it. The 4 key things, again, if you let me reiterate them very quickly, is one, you must know your why. Your purpose, your core, and the right business is critical. Okay. The second thing is where and how put together the framework, and underneath that I talked about funding, accessing capital, and the third thing is setting aside emergency fund, critical, having money 6 to 12 months preferably at the minimum before you quit your job, and time management, all of that underneath there. And like I said, number 4, the most important is the God factor, the G factor, critical. Yes. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you, Uncle Charles, FBI coach, and everyone who's been listening. I'm happy to take any questions you might have. Thank you.
Woo, this. I don't feel like stopping, but I know that we of our time. Wow, this is
Yes.
super duper. You are such an amazing person. I always long and love to sit to hear you speak. Just a word of advice from you. It's always God sent. And I'm so certain, viewers, if you have question, please drop it in the comment section. Drop your bullet points on your take home from this valuable content. Very soon, we shall be paying gate fee to access information. It's very important to scale up. It's very important to go virtual, go digital. I was talking while we are waiting for questions. I
Yeah.
was talking to a friend, the church where I went to speak this morning, and the
Okay.
man, everything in the man's head was analog. I said to the man
Wow.
that, look, you need to get out of analog. This meeting
Yeah.
we would have as well held it virtually. You
Yeah.
know, there is an NDDC headquarters that is that was commissioned yesterday also. It was done virtual.
Wow.
A whole lot is happening online. This
Yeah.
device we have is a smartphone. So, mommy, let me not go that way. Let me not go that
I
way.
know that's your passion as well.
So if you have question, please drop it. I'll just take two questions because of our time. But if we don't have question, while we are waiting to see if any question will come up, remember that my training on how to maximize this device coming up is starting on Monday. Early bird died yesterday, but FBI coach said the early bird today. So you
Die.
still have opportunity. You still have opportunity to um, pay 2,000 naira and be part of this training. I'm going to drop my WhatsApp number. You can chat me up on WhatsApp so we can get started immediately. I'm going to display my WhatsApp number on the screen. If there is any question, please put it up in the comment section. And also tell me what you have gained so far. That's my WhatsApp number, 07033109363. I added the 2 + 2 = 4 in case you are chatting me from Obodo Uyibo. So it's been an amazing time, mommy. I appreciate you. There's never a dull moment. The last time
Yeah.
you visited Port Harcourt, when we were talking in the vehicle, and there was something you said, and that made me started thinking
Mm.
about creating an opportunity from that problem. We're looking
Mm.
at some places where they have debris and all that. And one of the things that came to my mind was creating a recycling. Yeah, I know there are some companies that are already doing recycling
Correct.
going in a different direction, how I can maximize those things. So it's always a great time sharing and
That's
learning from you. Okay, someone,
talking Charles, if you let me jump in, okay?
okay,
You just talked about opportunity and you thinking, in every crisis there lies the seed of opportunity. So this
exactly.
pandemic was for some people a crisis, but for
Yeah,
others it was an opportunity. So
yeah.
event planners pivoted, and what did they do? They then became um, they set up what you
It's
call
something
them
fun.
isolation centers. They set
Yeah.
up isolation centers and began to do all of that. But one example that has never left me, and I don't know why this jumped into my mind, maybe it's for someone, is what Dr. Tonya Cole shared with us when he came to minister in our church about, just this is someone who is in oil and gas. So you'll think you'll only be focused on oil and gas, right? But then the insurgency in the northeast happened, and IDP camps were set up. How many thousands of people in IDP camps? And then so
Yeah.
okay, they will need food, Abby. They will
Yes.
need water, Abby.
They will
Even
need
if it's pure water,
water. Yeah.
pure water.
Yeah.
Imagine supplying food. They will need sanitary wares.
Yeah.
They will need diesel to power gen or whatever.
Hmm.
Do the math. When he was saying it, I was just seeing dollar sign flying in the air, because by the time the math, even if it's just water alone, you're supplying to 5,000 people, and of course that number was more than
50
that. Even
naira.
more. Oh my God, numbers will go. And I thought, wow, that's a huge opportunity there. So, like it's the Japanese that say that. So the symbol, Japanese and Chinese, they write with symbols. The Japanese
Yeah.
symbol for crisis is also the one for opportunity. So I'd like to
It
charge
is.
all of us. Think about it. Shine your eye, as we will say in Nigeria.
Mhm,
Every
mhm.
crisis you see, therein lies an opportunity. Make the most of it. So Charlie, that recycling thing, I'm in on you with that. Let's go there. Hmm?
Yeah. I'm on it seriously. I'm on it seriously. And when I'm done with it, I can also
Yeah.
scale up by teaching other people how they can set up their own in their own mini ways. So, okay, I have a question. One of your daughters has a question. I'm
Okay.
projecting it on the screen. Your daughter
Okay.
from another mother, Chioma Echegusi. Oh,
Ah.
formerly Echegusi. How do we
Hello.
get mentors and sponsors as entrepreneurs?
Okay, good question, Chioma. And it starts with you identifying the market leaders in that area. So you're an entrepreneur in what area? Are you in agriculture? If you are in agriculture, who should you be talking to? Who is top gun in agriculture? Identify them. Then find a way to reach out to them. Send an email. Go to an event where they might be. Book an appointment, go to their office. If you go and write a nicely worded letter and drop it at the reception, it should get to them and they should be able to respond to you. Find someone who knows them and get their details without being a bother or a bug, but nicely and politely ask for an interview. State what it is that you want, or again, like I said, that elevator pitch, have it ready. You might meet him entering his car in the car park on the road on Marina someday, and that will be your opportunity to just come in and say, I'm Chioma Echegwisi, I'm in agriculture, this is the area I am. I know you're the MD of so. I know what you do. I have a great idea I would like to send you out on. So don't come first in that kind of cold call with I want you to be my mentor. First, engage the person, show your competence, show that you're not coming to be a bother, you're really coming to learn from that person. And invariably, most good people would want to give back, will want to send the elevator back down, as we say, and help support another young business to grow. It will be really hard to find someone who's mean enough to say, leave me alone, I don't have your time, I don't want to teach you anything. No, typically most Nigerians are kind people and they would want to then support. It might be difficult because of their timelines, catching them and all, but you are the one who wants something. You must keep chasing after them and find them, and then you then must bring value. I say to people, and this is something I've heard, I have mentors, I also have mentees. You must add value to the other person. We alluded to it earlier on. It's not just about taking. Gimme. My name is Jimmy. You're just taking from the other person. What can you give that person in turn? Even if it's a research material, it's in that area of his business. You see, you have some new information and you pass it on. You're adding value. You're not just a leech or just, taking without giving back. But to get mentors and sponsors is very easy. You must just do your homework. You must be ready. You must have your facts and your figures. Find them at the right time. Ask politely and add value. It should be an easy road from then on. And I hope that helps, Chioma.
Awesome. Choma, forgive me. I was meant to say formerly Choma Iroquois, and so I mixed it up. Please forgive me. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I often see learn to deposit into people's emotional bank accounts. That's awesome. Okay, we don't
Good.
have any other question. It's been amazing. Mommy, please, your final words before we close the shot.
Right. I just want to say thank you, Charles, for this opportunity. I've had a great time talking, and I appreciate the invitation. And to everyone who wants to fire their bosses or quit their job, please think it through before you do so. Make sure you're ready, your ducks are in a row, like I said earlier on. You understand your purpose, why you're doing it. And again, like I said, if all you want to do is go home, let me go home and go and chop my husband's money. It's well within your right to do that, but you must understand the why. Okay. And then for those who are going into business, which is usually the case, you must put all these things in place. Get right, do your homework, have your facts and figures ready. Don't let anything take you by surprise. Don't let us see you 6 months or 1 year down the line and you are beaten and buffeted and battered because you did not do your homework or take the time to plan ahead. It's important to plan. It says teaching time saves nine. And I say the time to even stitch it is at the beginning before there is even a need to tear. So you must have that ready. Have your strategy, your goals, and your plans in ship-shape condition before you step out. But when you step out with courage. Know that
Yeah.
yes, you can. Barack Obama told us then, and we saw him do it. What the first
Yes.
term in office, do it a second time. Yes, you can. So by the time
Yeah.
you've done your homework, and most importantly, you've got a proceeding word from God, the God factor,
The God
which is the
factor.
most important part. Once God says go, then He will be right behind you and He will help you succeed. I wish you all the best. I'll be watching this space and looking to hear great things about you succeeding as you fire your boss and as you quit your job. All the best. Thank you,
Thank you
Charles.
very much. Thank you very much, Mommy. It's been an amazing afternoon with you. Appreciate viewers. I appreciate everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, FBI Coach. You'll be getting valuable content. Like I said when I started, I do two things. I delete what you know about money. I learn from my mentors, and Mommy is one of my mentors. I learn from them. I put it in my life, put it to work. It works for me. I teach others. I learn, I do, I teach. I learn, I do, I teach. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post content every now and then so you can also benefit from it. Let's be a blessing wholesale. Share this video, share it as far as you can. Share it on the Facebook page, say it on the everywhere on all social media platforms. Then don't forget, chat me up on WhatsApp. Let's get started. Tomorrow, the early bird almost died yesterday. FBI coach saved it today, so you still have opportunity to pay your 2,000 naira to benefit from this training. After today, it goes back to 10,000 naira. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an amazing, super duper afternoon. It's a pleasant pleasure and a privilege to be your host once again on this great channel. We've been doing this since pandemic. Every Saturday, we haven't missed a weekend. And this is my ministry. I use it to just be a blessing to humanity. Next week, Saturday, we are bringing up another entrepreneur. So stay tuned and God bless. Bye from me. And I know it's bye from mommy.
And God bless. Stay safe.